I saw, do you see one of your neighbors listed a house today? Fox Hollow?
Yeah, that's what I get, yeah.
It just went on the market. I sent it to Michelle. Great views.
Oh, sure.
Good evening. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting. Today is Thursday, October 9th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. We are going to start the meeting off with a prayer given by Member King, and then please join me in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father who art in heaven, we are so very grateful for this day and for the blessing that it is to be here as a planning commission and a community to come together and collaborate and discuss the things of the Morgan County area. We're so grateful that we are able to live here and to be amongst neighbors and friends. We ask thy Spirit to be here with us. We're grateful for thy beloved Son. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight? Motion by Member Wilson,
I'll second it.
second by Member Sessions. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Any conflicts of interest to declare? Any agenda items tonight? Seeing none, we'll move into public comment. If there is anything you would like to speak with us about tonight, please come forward and state your name for the record.
Maybe clarify that there's only administrative items.
Yep.
This is the only time to comment if they want to comment on something on the agenda.
What Josh said, all administrative items tonight. If you want to comment on anything on the agenda, speak now. Seeing no public comment, we will move on to our first item on the agenda, the Shadow Creek Development Preliminary Plat.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening to the Planning Commission. The Shadow Creek Development Preliminary Plat is application number 24.069. The applicant, Jeff and Casey Lowe in tandem, are present in the audience tonight. I believe Casey's traveling. Property owner is Steve Peterson. The current zoning of the property, Madam Chair, is RR5 following a rezone in 2023. The general plan designation reflects that at Branch Residential 5. The acreage of the two lots combined is approximately 80.19 acres. And the project is located approximately 700 feet northwest of the intersection of West Surrey Lane and North Morgan Valley Drive. The request for tonight, Madam Chair, is approval of a preliminary plat application for a subdivision of 14 lots. Notably, the applicant's gone through a rigorous application process to yield health department approval for 14 lots, wells and septic for those. The staff has done a review. The review is consisting of the county engineer, county planning, the fire department, and of course the Weber Morgan Health Department. All reviewers finding that this meets the list of standards this application does for achieving a preliminary plat approval. The public roads or the roads as depicted are public rights of way, 60-foot right of way, and
Actually, they changed it to private.
private
Yep. So they're not public.
private rights of way. The lots all range in size from the smallest lot being 5 acres almost exactly to 6.15 acres. The average size being about 5.15 acres. Otherwise, staff having done the review finds that this meets all the minimum code requirements and recommends approval of this body to the county commission. Otherwise, again, the applicant is in the audience, and Josh and I can answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it is private because the report lists both public and then later on it lists private.
Originally, they were going to do public streets, so the concept plan showed public. But during the review, Mark Miller, in discussion with their engineers, they decided to change it from public to private completely. So the county will not maintain these.
And I've noticed some things that are missing on the plat. Utility easements, they should be in the front, back, and one side. I can only see them on the front. Or can you maybe?
Yeah, if you wanted to make a stipulation that before final plat, they add utility easements along side property lines, that could be a stipulation of approval. Again, our engineer reviewed it. He didn't catch that, so.
Okay, because, and also the wellhead protections are not contained on the lot. And I'm surprised Weaver Morgan, our code requires that they be included entirely, wholly, I think the word is, within the lot.
I'm not seeing any of the wells that are not contained on
Five.
lot 5.
Lot, and lot, the one in the
That lot
back.
7.
No, the well on lot 7 and lot 5 are both contained within the
The
lot.
wellhead protection, I should say, excuse me.
Oh, the wellhead
I'm
protection.
sorry, yeah, I misspoke. The wellhead protections, you have two wells that are not contained,
Yeah, Weaver Morgan Health Department signed off on it. So,
but our code requires it, so.
yeah, I can check our code. I don't remember that being a requirement. If you know the section,
Okay, yeah, I'd have to look and see. Okay, yeah. It's 155-429B. 429. And then I also noticed the septic systems aren't identified, as well as the alternate absorption field, which is also required by our code.
yeah, I don't really agree with you there. It says well protection areas shall not include any portions of public or private streets.
Go up above. Well protection areas must be wholly included within each lot.
If you want to include that as a stipulation, you can. I know we received the approval from Weber Morgan Health Department. But
Without the septic systems being identified? The letter was in our packet for the perk test.
yeah, they went through and we got the letter from Weber Morgan Health Department.
Okay.
I just don't remember we've ever shown septic systems on the plats themselves.
Preliminary always.
No, I don't think so.
Required.
What section? Because I don't remember seeing it on other plats.
It'd be up in preliminary approval. I think septics and the drain fields have always been shown. Get in, I didn't write that one down. If it's in utilities or. Yeah. It's in the utility one, I'll look and see.
In preliminary plat 155.407, it says show all existing and proposed utilities, including sewer, culinary water, well locations with secondary water, fire hydrants, storm drains, subsurface drains, gas lines, power lines, and street lights.
That's correct, but this isn't a sewer, it's a septic system. And the location of the septic will be wholly dependent on where they put that house. So we've never required them to show drain fields unless they're existing.
I've seen them on plats all the time.
Okay? It's not a
Have to
requirement
show
based
that
on
they can
this.
fit, and then you have the alternate, that there's room for the wellhead protection.
Well, that's what the letter from Weber Morgan Health Department shows. They've done the perk tests. They show that it could be there. The
Is
well
it-
protection zone. It's not, there's no sewer lines. They're showing the drainage ditches.
Maybe I can get into utilities, but now the letter just says that the perk,
The utility section talks about water, doesn't talk about sewer at all.
septic, okay, figure that.
Septic regulations are 155.294. I don't see it in there.
Yeah, but they've always been on there identified.
If you want to make a condition that they add them before final plat, I mean, you can put a condition, but from my reading of the code, I don't think showing septic systems is required.
Is that what the health department is giving us a letter that they confirm?
It just says the perk test, this is,
Yeah, so the health department gives a letter stating that these lots are approved for well and septic. They've approved the location of the well protection zones, and they've approved the soils for percolation rates for septic systems.
Okay.
But the location of those septic systems, it would be hard to show that on a plat because you don't know where they're going to put the house.
maybe you, there might, I guess there's another letter, because the letter we have in our packet doesn't state that. It's just the perk test, so maybe there's another letter you received from Weber Morgan Health.
The letter that I read, I don't know if it's in the packet or not, but it approved for well and septic.
Which just says the placement of the well is critical as to provide the required 100-foot protection. The well will need to be dug and goes on.
If you'd like, you could talk to the applicant about
Okay,
what they've done to get approval from Weber Morgan Health Department.
So I do kind of want to step in here and clarify something. The problem with showing those on a plat is, like you're saying, Josh, the location of the home, but also the size of the home. The size of the drain field is based upon the amount of bedrooms of the home. And there's no way to know that at this point. It could be a 4, it could be a 5, it could be 6, which means your drain field goes from here to here pretty quickly, and as well as the backup location. So I don't think it's even, other than just kind of a guess close to where the perk test was done, that would be the only way to show it on a plot.
Right, and that's kind of what it is. It's just showing that it can fit.
Okay, like a bet. Okay, that
General,
would just
but
be a
it's
best
not-
guess, but
Right,
it
right.
very well could change, and it
But-
will.
yeah.
I understand completely.
But that's what the Weber Morgan Health Department review is doing, and that's why they're requiring 1.75 acres instead of 1 acre right now. It's because they need to make sure that there's room for not just one septic field, but there's a backup area.
That's just code, and that's with
Right.
anybody.
Right.
Like any home has to have a backup. Which is actually one of my questions. Lot 5, is there enough space? Lot 5 is really, really tight with the amount of floodplain that's showing there. And I know we're looking at 6.15 acres on that lot, and the drain field has to stay outside of the wellhead protection zone, which takes up what, about a third of the space that's not inside the floodplain. So the way I see it, either the house has to sit inside of the floodplain, which it could, but we've run into that before, right, Josh?
Well, the floodplain you can't build in a floodplain.
Can.
You need to get a floodplain permit. You
Right.
need to make sure that the house is, if you've engineered the base flood elevation, it needs to be 1 foot above that base flood elevation. If you're going off of FEMA's base flood elevation, I believe it's 18 inches to 2 feet. You have to be above it, but there's nothing prohibiting them from building that house in the floodplain.
That's right. I'm just saying, if they decided not to, they might have to on that lot, depending upon how much space really there is in that corner.
That is true.
Yeah. So it'd just be something that the applicant would want to know, and maybe somebody who purchases that lot would have to understand.
I would hope that they would look at the documents that are provided.
Any questions for the applicants or more discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple for the applicant.
Applicant like to come forward? Please state your name for the record.
Jeff Lowe.
So approval from the health department, you submitted this plat to them.
That's correct.
Tell them how long it took.
Yeah.
I know, I yeah, I
Yeah.
understand.
You want to, you got to be here a minute. I'll tell you everything they did.
No, I understand.
Okay.
No, just with the wellhead protections overlapping into other lots, they don't allow that. So I just curious if they saw this plat.
Absolutely. Yeah. They had 9 months they took to do this. So I'm sure they've seen the plat. Yeah.
And the question is, with the ditch going through there and water rights, is there going to be a secondary?
There's going to be a secondary system that's coming off of that Littleton middle ditch. Yeah.
Okay,
And there's lots, or there's shares on that have been transferred over to every one of those lots. And we're going to provide water to each one of those lots.
well, I'm aware of the Weber Basin contracts, but you're also going to supply the adjudicated water.
That's correct.
It just didn't show. When I clicked on the full-size version, I didn't see the drawings for distribution, so I just had the question if there was going to be secondary.
Yeah, that's not typically required, right, Josh, to put that on there. That's why it's not on there for secondary water.
Well, no, I'm not talking about this plat,
Oh,
like in the improvements in that. The improvement plans that were available.
Anything else?
I'd imagine that I'm probably premature in asking this, but what did you look at the well protection heads? Have you got, I assume you're gonna make agreements that they can't create barns or anything on that?
Yeah, that's correct. That'll be part of the HOA, yeah. So,
Any additional questions for the applicant? Anything the applicant would like to add?
Nope.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just on the septic, our code does say that Weber Morgan Health Department, there is verification of approval regarding the proposed location of all septic systems.
So we received the approval letter from Weber Morgan Health Department that certified that the lots can contain wells and septics. So
Yes, yeah, but not the location.
again, I don't think the location is required. We need certification from Weber Morgan Health Department stating that they can provide that. That's what the letter provides.
For Debbie, I think the two things you pointed out were well protection, wellhead protection, as well as
Utility
utility
easements.
easements. You are. Yes.
I move we recommend approval to the county commission of the Shadow Creek Development Preliminary Plat, application number 24.069 for the proposed subdivision of 14 single-family lots located approximately 700 feet northwest of the intersection of West Surrey Lane and North Morgan Valley Drive in Milton, based on the findings and with the conditions listed in the staff report dated October 9th, 2025, with the following additional conditions. Number one, all lot utility easements are identified on the plat. And two, wellhead protection zones must be located wholly within the lot boundaries.
I have a motion by member Sessions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by member King. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
Madam Chair, item 2 on your agenda applies to the Meadow Park East Cottonwoods Phase 5A-5 preliminary plat. That's file number 25.009. The applicant, Skylar Gardner. Skylar Gardner is in the audience tonight, Madam Chair, and represents property owners in the area, those being Cottonwood Meadows Holding Company, Inc., and Gardner Cottonwood Creek LC. The project location is east of the intersection of Park Meadow Drive and Kingston Drive. The parcel number and serial numbers in your packet tonight identify the property, with the current zoning being underlying rural residential 1 acre minimum. It's RR1 with the development agreements. That being the Cottonwoods development agreement. The acreage affected by tonight's proposal is 7.29 acres combined. Staff, having reviewed this application, notes that the lots range in size. They're smaller lots, approximately 3,000 to 3,800 square feet for each one of these units is probably how I should be calling it. The request for tonight, by the way, I should say, is a 24 unit subdivision throughout the property across the 5 aforementioned parcels, and it'll be utilizing a condominium style lot line with yards in common that'll be maintained by an established HOA. So the majority of the property will feature open space, approximately 3.952 acres of open space, and staff, having reviewed against the preliminary plat standards, finds that this meets all of our minimum code requirements. Those reviewers, including the Mountain Green Fire Protection District, the county engineer, planning staff, and assistance from our contractor for addressing. The utility companies in the area consist of Cottonwood Mutual Water Company for water, Mountain Green Sewer Improvement District for sewer, and again the Fire Protection District providing fire services. Otherwise, staff is happy to answer any questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Questions for Sarah?
Madam Chair, I did forget to add in my presentation that the office did receive approximately 2 calls from property owners in the area. They expressed concern over a temporary bike trail going through the middle of the property, that going away. And so those are the calls that we received from the.
Thank you. Any comments for staff before we give the applicant a minute to speak?
Hi, my name is Skylar Gardner, the authorized representative for Cottonwood Meadows. We have also heard the concern about the trail. There is a single track mountain bike trail. We granted permission to the Trails Committee, Master Owners Association, and the Cottonwoods to construct a trail through this area. While we're under construction, it will need to be closed down for safety reasons. We do plan to accommodate it between approximately between units 512 and 513 is where we will attempt to create a corridor so that it can connect and then continue going south along the back of the hill there. There's also a possibility that we may approach the landowner to the east, Ridge of Cottonwood LC, to see if maybe it could go up on the hillside to the east, where it starts to get a little bit steep, but a single track mountain bike trail would probably work. We do another concern that we've heard from the residents in the Cottonwoods is that with the map that went out, it didn't show this layout, so there was maybe a misunderstanding that some of our units would continue behind the existing lots there, 3077, 3076, going that direction. Everybody's squinting. The numbers are hard to read. Tiny. Yeah, they're tiny. Just because that was just a generic, I think maybe a zoning or an aerial map. They didn't see this layout, so they didn't see that our units do stop before that first 3077. Although we do own land continuing going south in a long strip of land maybe even several thousand feet, that several hundred. There's not an overall area map, but regardless, our units are stopping at that location. The hillside just becomes too steep as you move further south and even moving to the east a little bit. So I don't think the geotechnical report specifically says that, but it wouldn't, units in that location would not be permitted. I'd be happy to answer any other questions you might have. I guess I should also point out, we are using the condominium style plat, very similar to all of the units that we've constructed in the middle of phase 5. Layout where there's one large lot and then individual units are found on that lot. That helps us to achieve the open space as well as the setback requirements under the Conduits Development Agreement.
I have a question. Number of units in this phase? You're
24.
well, no, I guess the whole 5.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So
I-
it's 68 plus 24, so that's 92 total.
And I know the PUD in that has been amended since it was first, so you're still under the limit or within the limit for that
Yes,
phase.
so the development agreement and the attached concept plan for the Cottonwoods of Mountain Green identifies 120 units in phase 5. So we are underneath that 120. This will actually probably be the maximum. The reason why it was 120 is because many of them are actually triplexes or 3 units in the very center area. We moved away from those to the higher demand, which is single family detached homes.
Thank you. Any discussion? Make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I move and recommend approval to the County Commission of the Meadow Park East Cottonwoods Phase 5A5 plat, preliminary plat, application number 25.009, allowing for a 24 lot subdivision of land located approximately east of the intersection of Park Meadow Drive and Kingston Drive in unincorporated Morgan County based on the findings and with conditions listed in the staff report dated October 9th, 2025.
I have a motion by member King. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Second by member Sessions. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Agenda item number 3.
Item number 3 is the Ponderosa preliminary plat. Just want to give you a little bit of background. So I've had multiple meetings with the applicant regarding this. My understanding was that they were going to give me modified drawings showing the street at where it's shown on the conceptual drawing. Last week, when the deadline for getting those to me came, it also went. They've decided to go and try to finish all of their administrative appeals to the commission's decision. So we had advertised for this because of the timing for notifications. So we're requesting a continuance until the first meeting in December. I'm hoping that'll be enough time to go through the appeal. They're also thinking of submitting a different development agreement amendment that would change the layout a little bit further. but not create the double frontage lot. It would be a little bit different. So that might come forward first, but just so the county doesn't have to pay to renotice, I'm asking that you grant a continuance for the applicant for the first meeting in December.
Josh, didn't they request to be put on this meeting in anticipation that their amendment would be approved and then they wouldn't have to wait to get on to the next one?
Partly. So the discussion I had with the applicant was they wanted to be ready to go. They thought it would be approved. I told them that if it wasn't approved, that they would need to get me modified drawings showing the drawings in the right place before it could go forward. But at their request, we did notice.
And our hearings officer for the appeal is Craig Call. And we've already reached out to him. We've discussed this with him, and I've gotten him all the documents he needs. So
Yeah, so he'll
It's-
review them and then he'll be the one to set up the public meeting.
yeah, there'll be an appeals hearing, and then we'll go from there.
Well, that was my question. So it hasn't been scheduled yet.
It has not.
We just have to schedule it in a timely manner, but that's not defined.
And I don't think I changed that in my amendment. And mostly that was because I knew Craig Call it would be timely, and I didn't want to box him in. And also if he looks at the application and determines that it's not
Yeah, if he looks at it,
appealable, and then we might not have a hearing. But likelihood in our discussions with him is it probably is appealable, and we'll have a hearing.
yeah, his exact words were, "There's very few things that are not appealable."
So
See-
what meeting do you want? The first or the second meeting?
December
Well-
11th.
I wasn't sure if we had 2 meetings in December
Oh, because Christmas, you're right.
The 11th is what it shows.
here on Christmas. Yeah, if we can just maybe have it scheduled for the first meeting, and then the closer we get, maybe we request to push it out.
We have the same issue with Thanksgiving.
There's only 1 meeting in November because of that.
Yeah. All right. Sure enough.
So there's only 3 more meetings after this one
That's crazy.
for this year anyway.
So expectation is though, it'll go before Craig Collin through the appeals process long before it's,
Well, I'm not going to bring it forward. You're not going to see it. I'll just ask for another continuance. We'll post it on our website so people don't show up. But
that's kind of my question. Is it going to be,
yeah, if they haven't submitted the updated drawings, then they haven't met the submittal requirements.
we're in the same position we're in right now without those documents
Yeah,
being submitted and prior to, we won't run into the same issue we're having where we're still in limbo as far as the
yeah.
the
I
appeal process happens. And
was expecting the updated drawings.
And I can coordinate with Craig Call. I can shoot him an email tomorrow and say, hey, do we have a time frame? So we'll have some idea.
So do you need a motion on it?
Yeah.
Yes, please. A motion to continue.
And we need a set date, so December 11th is what it looks like.
Yeah, date certain.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All motion.
11th.
December 11th is the date.
Okay, I have a motion by Member King,
second,
second by Member McMillan. All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous, moving it to December 11th. The last agenda item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The last agenda item for our administrative list of items is the Northside Creek PRUD number 2 plat amendment. That's file number 25.008. The applicant is again Skylar Gardner representing Northside Creek LLC. The project location is approximately 0.22 miles northeast of the intersection of North Cottonwood Canyon Road and North Lakeside Drive. It would be in the northeast corner of the subdivision. The parcel number and serial numbers in your staff report tonight identify the property as parcel K currently, with the current zoning being rural residential 5-acre minimum, RR5, with an applicable development agreement for the Northside Creek subdivision. The acreage for the 3 lots combined is approximately 2.5 acres. The lots would range in size between 0.8 acres and 0.86 acres. And the request for tonight, Madam Chair, is an amendment to the Northside Creek PRUD subdivision plat to create 3 lots. Some context I'd like to give for the benefit of the public and for the commission tonight is there's an application around this time last year that came before the Planning and County Commission for an amendment to the Northside Creek Development Agreement. It finalized the allocation of bonus density and allowed for 3 additional residential lots within this subdivision. I believe in the discussions for that meeting there was a discrepancy between density prescribed in the development agreement and how it was portrayed on subsequent amendments to the plat, the first amendment rather. So by ordinance, the county commission approved an amendment to the development agreement on August 20, 2024 and codified ordinance number 04 CO 24-19 to allow that. The applicants submitted a detailed written narrative going through some of this and about the bonus density. Staff has done a review and finds that this meets our minimum code requirements for accomplishing a plat amendment, especially for a PRUD plat. Again, the applicants in the audience tonight, Madam Chair, and Josh and I are happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Any questions for staff?
I'm trying to remember back because I remember this coming through before, and the question at the time was, were they, with the density was, they were townhouses, but they were
Duplexes.
They were
duplexes, right? And that was the question on the density at that point.
they were
This-
requesting 6 at the time.
Okay.
A
That's
county
a pretty-
commission approved the 3 based on your recommendation.
Okay. That was just my question. Does this alter any of that density or any issue that way? From what
No.
we did before.
No, this satisfies the bonus density that they were granted.
Okay.
So there's 3 single family or I think 6 townhome units. I'm looking at it. So this is the 3 single family, so a total of 25.
Yeah.
single family.
That's correct. The original request was for the 6 or 3.
Yeah.
But based on your recommendation and the county commission approval, it was just the 3. Yeah. Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant? You can speak if you want, Skylar.
Skylar Gardner, the representative for Northside Creek this evening. Just one additional item. Now that I'm standing here, I just remembered that it's a private roadway. But I was going to mention that all the utilities are already stubbed to these 3 lots. So there actually will be no improvements made. They already exist. It's just going to be a plat recorded. Which would have been more critical if it was a public road, but it's a private road. So, sorry.
Thank you. I do have a question, Skylar. I'm looking at our packet from last year. I'm just confirming more for the record, so it's not in our packet today. You restored the roundabout, completed reconstruction of the Cottonwoods Canyon Road, repairs to Silverleaf Road. And you did a 3-inch asphalt overlay, correct? Those were like the stipulations for the bonus density?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, those
Okay.
improvements were made, which was for, we were requesting 6, but only 3 was granted.
Okay. Okay.
So there's
Thank you.
22 existing, 25 will be the new 20.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I pulled it up because I couldn't remember what they were. I know. Questions, discussion, ready for a motion?
Madam Chair, I move we recommend approval to the County Commission of Northside Creek PRUD number 2 plat amendment, application number 25.008. For the creation of 3 lots located at approximately 2 miles northeast of the intersection of North Continental Canyon Road, North Lakeside Drive, and incorporated Thornton County, based on the findings with conditions listed in the staff report dated October 9th, 2025.
I have a motion by member Wilson. Do you have a second? Second by member McMillan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Business or staff questions?
I don't have anything tonight.
I think there was some discussion maybe from the county commission about planning commission bylaws.
He requested that we update him. It's been a while.
It's
that
been a
they
minute.
requested it.
And I think we needed to update it for, there was something specific and it's on my radar. I just need someone to remind me.
I think it's maybe agenda, approval of the agenda and something else.
There
Voting?
was something else.
I think it's the chair voting, not voting. Right now, it
Yes.
says the chair does not vote unless make or break a tie or if there's only 4. I think the commission wanted the chair voting.
Okay.
Maybe we can just make a note of it.
Yeah. I'm putting it in my task list so I won't forget. There was something else from our changes that needed to be updated too as well. I'll figure it out.
And I can go back to and try to find that county commission meeting.
I think there's a lot of language in there about Robert's rules and the types of motions that we don't follow, and I probably prefer it's not in there. Because we don't follow it like we're supposed to. But yeah, you can look at all those, the Robert rules.
Anything else you guys can think of? You guys want a pay raise?
Wasn't there some discussion also about attendance virtually? and
We need to
clarifying-
clarify that. Attendance virtually, yeah.
Oh,
Because it's
notification if you're going-
confusing, yeah. No pay raise.
Keep the snacks coming.
Yes.
Can I ask a question unrelated to this? Just email. Some of the email correspondence that we're kind of watching go on, between some of the public and us. What can you just give me some advice on just is silence the best thing in this case? Some of these things start flying.
Yeah, silence is probably the best. You might have noticed I did not respond once she started the personal attacks.
Yeah.
I left that alone. Some people get very angry and upset, and there's a lot of passion when it comes to land use and property, and I can understand that. But there are entitlements, there are property rights, there's old agreements that have to be followed. And some of those old agreements tie the county to old codes, not necessarily the current code. So it builds in another layer of problem. If you want to respond as a planning commissioner and an employee of the county, you have the right to respond. If you'd like some help drafting a response, I would encourage you to talk to me or Janet, and we can kind of walk you through the legalities of the zoning or the land use or the question in general. I have no problem helping you with that. Sometimes it's best not to engage. Sometimes it is. It's just the situation.
And I don't mind responding because I know sometimes it's easier for me to respond kindly because I'm a lawyer and people say mean things all the time. So I can shoot back. In fact, a few times I've told Josh, just let me. And usually once it's coming from a lawyer, it sometimes, ends it. And I can cite law or code or things like that. So I'm also here to help.
I think if you really, I don't know how you guys feel, but also just thank you for your comment. We appreciate your engagement. And no code or nothing legal, just like acknowledging that they're trying to be engaged, but maybe not furthering that via email.
I mean, that's how I felt. There's a perception that we're here in the app. Should respond and say something.
But
I've
you're
heard that,
not,
but
you're not elected.
Yeah, we're appointed. Yeah.
So, just trying to, I don't really want to engage in any of it. There is a part of it. So, I mean, I think that's just good to validate. Thank you for your comments, for further comment, please see, our county attorney or whatever. Direct them to its staff. Just curious.
I do think it's important that you let them know they've been heard. So I like what Maddie has to say about, you've been heard, thank you.
Because they can always give public comment too, or if it's a split, we have this, and we notice the agenda, so. It just seemed like a lot lately.
I'm just curious. What's helpful to diffuse some of it and not? Because the personal attack things.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I'll draft emails and I'll delete them. And sometimes a draft that maybe I should have deleted as well gets sent. And there are some times I've had to walk it back a little bit. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to protect both the property rights of the neighbors as well as the property rights of the applicant, and the property owners surrounding the properties have a right to comment, and there's a time for that. But the rights of the applicant should also be protected, and they should be given their due process and the time for them to apply for the entitlements on their property. And sometimes what the residents have to say is not applicable. And it's just called public clamor for a reason. But again, there's a lot of emotion to land use. So I think the best option not to create ire from your neighbors and people in the area is kind of what Maddie Maloney said, and just thank you for your comments and move on.
Well, and it's statutory that when we're interpreting ordinances with an application, that we look at it in favor of the applicant and approval. I mean, that's state law. So they have some deferential treatment just based on our state code.
And I just have a question. In our packets, you usually include the application review status. It always says for everyone not reviewed. Is it just When do you update those, or
There's two places where you can see reviews, and one of them is like a sidebar that doesn't get utilized often, and the other one is a plan review. The plan review is where you can see cycles of reviews, so you can see the document change through its different iterations. That's where you'll find reviews. I'm not sure if that shows up in your application, but if the commission wants to have a way to see that,
well,
I
we
can
just
look
say,
into that.
you know, it says the county engineer not reviewed, planner one not reviewed, everything's not reviewed.
That's the review feature
Yeah.
I'm talking about is where the letters, the review comments, red lines are all contained.
If you want to come in, any of you want to come in and see how Civic Review works or doesn't work, we are more than willing to give you a tutorial. It is separated. So even though the engineer is going through the review sections of the plans and they're approving, denying, asking for resubmittals, and you can track the dates and how long each review is taking, all of that is taking place. Unfortunately, it's not linked to the sidebar. And so we try at the very end of the application, once everything's approved, to have everybody go back and put approve or whatever. It's just, it's not connected at all. So there's some issues there that we're trying to work through.
Works well for simpler applications where they really are. Just putting a simple check mark and that shows up in the sidebar. Business licenses, other things like that.
So you don't get like the memos like we used to because of civic review, like from the county engineer that would put out just a memo that was included in our packet. That
We haven't done that for a while.
that's
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't think we've done that since Bailey left. To be perfectly, I don't remember us doing that for a really long time. Do you? Yeah.
we used to have them in the packet for different.
Yeah. It almost predates me. If you want something like that, I mean, we can try to put something together.
Maybe the comments, you know.
Well, if there are comments, we try to include them as stipulations, like the one for Meadow Park. The county engineer reviewed the new inundation line and the engineering around how they're changing it. And our code doesn't require us to get a letter from the dam safety board. But Mark is like, I really want the dam safety board to chime in that they agree because they're in charge of that. So before they can submit final plat, we need that approval letter. So we try to add stipulations if there are comments from those reviewing bodies. Sometimes the fire comments aren't really related to the plat itself, but they're related to when the buildings are being constructed. So they don't really belong. Survey comments, a lot of times when we bring it to you, the survey comments are minimal. Like, you need to change a font. Your line types are too similar. Overlaps, things like that. And so we really don't include any of that in the stipulations either. They have to do that before it records. That answer your question a little bit?
I always see the not reviewed, so I'm just curious when that got updated.
So Debbie, are you asking, like, I'm looking at this where it's like engineering comments have been received and are being addressed. Are you wanting them in our packet? Is that what you're saying? The comments specifically?
I guess it depends on the comment. But if the engineer has a concern, I think, but if you are including that concern somewhere in the packet,
Yeah, if the concern from the engineer is severe enough, we don't bring it to you. We wait for them to resubmit and address it. A lot of the WPR, there are issues with the first drawings or second drawings, and sometimes they go through 4 or 5 reviews before you
Back
even
and forth.
see it. Yeah. Meadow Park is the same. That was submitted earlier this year, but we waited for resubmittal and finally got it. So a lot of times you're only going to see it when the engineer has no issues or they're just minor. And we can include those as stipulations that might help you. But if you want like a letter from the engineer, I mean, those are posted on Civic Review, and I think each of you has
We have
access.
We have
You
access to
should.
Civic Review, but I don't know if we have access to
Um,
everything.
we'll look to see, but we can provide you access to applications that require your decision. And if you want to go through and start looking at all the review comments,
We
you're
can
welcome
pull
to
up
do
the
that.
plats, you know, when it says click on that, we can get into Civic Review and it pulls up
Yeah.
plats, but
Yeah, I thought we had made planning
not the
commission
comments.
reviewers for some.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes it's how you're looking at it in Civic Review. So it might be
yeah.
beneficial to come
I'm
in
very
and,
Okay.
happy to provide a
Yeah.
tutorial.
Can we do that actually for everyone? Is that
It's training.
as a
At
training.
another,
is
could
that
be at another
training or
meeting.
no? Does that go towards our hours?
It would go towards your hours, but I think it'd be very difficult to do it in here. I can talk to Jeremy to see if we can.
Like if they had their own devices and logged in and he was running it from up on here.
Yeah, let me look into it. Let's see if we can
Okay.
provide training. It would count towards your hours, whether it's in a group or whether you come in individually, but let's see if we can do it as a group.
Yeah, then you can track some of the nitty gritty
Or if we have
Go
questions,
back and
it's not
forth with.
repetitive for you guys. You know what
Oh,
I mean? Like we
Jeremy.
have access to look and we're not all asking you the same question
Here he
that's
comes.
somewhere that's public, you know, for us.
Yeah, the other thing is you're welcome to come in early before the meeting if you want to sit down and you have questions. We can go through the code. We can answer questions you have. I'm willing to meet with you, even if it's days before and you have questions. That way, you can have answers before the meeting or whatever. It's whatever you want to do.
Yeah, because we're killing time from 5 to 6:30.
Yeah.
Could you speak into the mic, please?
Yes, Jeremy.
Savage.
I deserve that. But no, I think this is the perfect place for the training because you can all be right there. You can wear this.
And we can get ours.
We can do that anytime you want.
Thank you.
We have a motion to approve our September 11th, 2025 Planning Commission minutes.
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
member King, second by member Sessions. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Motion to adjourn. Motion by member Telford, second by member King. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?